Perfect, perfect. Yes, hello, Dyonne. Dyonne is a healer from Holland, and I have a gift for you today.
Mm.
The thing so
I'm
we are talking.
curious.
Yes, we're talking about personal development. And today I thought. So last time I had this surprise subtopic, and I do today again. And today I thought, um, how about talking about the benefits of doing something that you don't normally do?
Ah,
Yes.
benefits of doing something. Yeah, that's an interesting topic.
Yeah.
Lots come up. Yeah, lots is coming up. Yeah.
You can unwrap the what comes up for you when doing things you don't normally do, and personal development.
For me, what actually comes up, I'm doing daily reflections since a couple of months by Ianla van Zandt. Well, the name is not very important, but I love the fact that when I do this each morning, it's a combination of prayer and gratitude. Something you referred to before by Greg Braden, the importance of prayer and gratitude. And first of all, for me, praying and not taking things for granted and being grateful and counting my blessings. That's a new thing that I do since last year. And that's already something new in itself that's giving me a lot of reward. But on top of that, when I read those daily reflections, it also says something about doing something out of your, not per se comfort zone, but doing something kind, for instance, for other people. When you become a space for them, or when you're present for them, when they want a listening ear. And before I give it back to you, what helps me in terms of how do you say, how this boosts my personal development also, it helps me with creating an attitude of gratefulness, and it makes me having a nicer stance in life, if that makes any sense. There's so much I want to say, so yeah, does that make any sense what I'm saying?
It does. It does. It totally does. As a philosopher, of course, I need to ask about gratitude and why that would be a good thing. I mean, it feels very clear that if I'm summoning all the wisdom voices from the world, and none of them would say stop feeling grateful, just be bitter, and that will,
True,
yeah.
true.
So it feels like very old natural wisdom kind of thing to count your blessings. It's a saying in I suppose
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
language.
we tend to forget it, Miriam. I
Yeah.
think most people, especially in city lives, when I used to live downtown Amsterdam, I so oftentimes was just joining the rat race and striving for more and more and more and bigger and better and being more slender and being more perfect. And it was all about achieving and overachieving, and I lost touch with that old wisdom. So that's actually why I bring it up. So it's not new,
Mm.
but it's so important, and people tend to forget it. That's why I address it.
Yes, and things that people tend to forget, they become, I mean, because it's like we need a constant reminder to do these things.
Yes.
We need a constant reminder because, and that's what, in that sense, they are sort of in the category of doing something different because it's not just the same. But I was also thinking about, okay, so I want to say everything at once now, but I'll try to separate two trails of thought. So the first one is I read somewhere that to create, you should get out of bed. You should think of 30 different ways to get out of bed for 1 month. Like you roll on your side, or you just go down with your feet first, or bottom first, or head first. And then just doing like a daily routine in a slightly different way every day, create
Yeah, yes.
synapses in the brain. And this, of course, allows for new connections to be drawn,
Yeah.
and you can expand your worldview, and you can see how things go. together in new ways, so that you no longer feel shocked or surprised by things, and you can more feel like you're more it allows you to become a more conscious agent in your life, if you know, if you think
Yeah, I do it even with going to the office or going to the store. When you go and do your groceries, take another route, do it a different way. Never do it at a set time, but always do it. Well, with shopping, don't even do it when you're hungry or wanting to spend money, but do it for the right reasons. But it's also when you drive or cycle or walk, do it differently all the time. So yeah, you're very right, and that helps with personal development, because that's all about increasing your growth mindset.
Yes, and now that you put it that way, which is so brilliant, because it segues into the next topic that I had in my head. And that was again doing something differently, because some people like you and I are very we have this strong in a Myers-Briggs way. We are strong intuitives. So intuition and this creative seeing possibilities type of function comes very easily and automatically and early to us. Sort of, it's the entire day is often
instantly. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that, and we tend to see that. So for someone like you and me to take the other route, which I also always do, I'm like, which way should I go, so I don't need to go back the same way? You know, I want.
That's by default. We do it by default, I guess.
Yes,
Even.
yes, it's my it's my default. So when I was thinking, again from the Myers-Briggs perspectives, you know, I've studied this for some time, and I think it's so interesting. And now I'm moving on to other theory systems of thought as well. But Myers-Briggs shows sort of what you do, your individual rhythm, what comes very easily to you, what you tend to do next, and what you don't do so easily, what you need to work on a little bit more. So the other part of doing things slightly differently is to find out your rhythm and to start from the other side. So for example, some people, many people, don't have the same problem that I do with remembering whether they locked the door or not. There is not one single day that I don't sort of go back and check whether I locked it, and I always did. I always did, but I don't. It's like I'm unconscious when I'm locking the door. And this is the kind of, in Myers-Briggs terminology, this would be the kind of sensing thing, and sensing, being in the here and now, being tasting, sensing the feel of the knob in the hand and the key, and you know, all these things. But I'm in my dream state, and I'm already several steps ahead, and I'm doing something else. And so for me to do something different, it also means things like doing sports, or moving about, or just lying still and listening to something monotonous, you know. And for other people who wake up in a state where they want to repeat what they did yesterday, and they want to have thing in a very set order, for them it's really, really good to get out of bed in 30 different ways, you see.
I totally, because I know that you know me and you've studied me, and I am an INFP. So you know that for me, that also comes natural. I could do a cartwheel getting out of the bed. So that's not the problem. But as you know, my biggest challenge would be like finishing projects, or so like recently that I contacted you and asked me to help with setting a grid for my project. I didn't lack the ideas of how to go about. I don't lack the sources, but what do I lack? The not per se the skills, but the attitudes and the effort to make it stick and to finish something.
To just sit down, write it.
To do it. And so that would be my challenge. And maybe you could even give me extra tips, because it's also nice for viewers to hear what would for me be doing something different in terms of, and to that it would be challenging for me, like finish something maybe a 30 different ways. No, but finish 30 things. That would be a challenge. Yeah.
Finish 30 things. Yeah.
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 But there's also like you have to find the way. It's not like you're supposed to force yourself to do things that you hate. That's not the idea. That's
No,
not
I
the
know.
meaning of doing things differently. But it's kind of in Swedish you would say utsätta dig, that you should expose yourself.
Yeah. Get yourself out there and give it a try.
Yeah.
And because if it's something that's beneficial to you and you would only need to challenge a little resistance, then you're onto something. But as you say, if it's something that's totally against your nature and you dislike it that much, then it's, well, then it doesn't stick, and then it's no point altogether.
Yeah, and it's that personal development isn't torture, like Sadhguru said. I mean, if you want only personal development, hang out with demons. But we don't want only personal development. We want to live a life as well. We want to have a good life. Yeah, and there are more things to that than personal development. But that's good. Circling back to personal development now. Yeah, and the idea that what personal development really, really means is becoming this, like developing all parts of your person, not just one. And that's why you should do things differently, according to your own rhythm. You should sort of make sure you have integrated every function, and not just looping the first two.
No, because you have the autopilot also, and that's not working. I mean, especially because we're growing older, we have to keep challenging the brain, the body, the spirit. Everything needs to join us in our aging process, but not per se aging, in evolving our personal evolution. It's so important, and in order to evolve, you need to, as you say, establish new pathways, neural pathways, and you need to establish new pathways for your body in terms of, even, I mean, when you go exercising, you can do certain exercises for a while and then you have to change, otherwise the muscles get bored. They really do.
They do.
And the brain gets bored. Everything gets bored. And we are in charge. We owe it to ourselves and to our personal development that we challenge. But that's very interesting, because you just said it before. What a challenge is, and what would mean that you would get too much resistance. It's very important to find a pivotal point. What it is that you need, what it is that ignites you into evolving. And what would be too much, because there is an art in taking little steps for growth, because little steps in the long run, they are more they're about endurance, or not endurance, they're about sustainable change. Sorry,
resilience, like it's jumping up.
Yeah. I used to really fail at many sports. Not fail at sports. I should say it differently. I used to love to exercise in terms of, I want to dance, and I want to become stronger or lose weight, or whatever idea I had in my mind. Because I know I'm very hypermobile. I can move my body easily, and there are many sports that I can do from the start. However, what I was never aware is that if I'm untrained, but submit myself to a certain schedule, that will never sustain until I see that there are little steps to be taken before getting somewhere, instead of having the end result. And it's not because I'm capable of doing something that I'm already there, or that I've reached those goals. No, in order to grow in terms of this, physically grow, there needs to be a timeline, before I get somewhere. So
Mm,
those little steps, the little challenges, I have to start with the little challenges. Otherwise, I'm getting nowhere, and
yeah,
I fail before I start.
yeah.
And I used to be very good at failing before starting.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that
with
is
this.
also, yeah, and that's also the torture part.
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
try to do too much, and then you'll just say, "Oh no, I couldn't do it," and it was
yeah.
awful. Yeah, but and then there are things that are new for everyone, such as Zoom courses, and I was a Zoom course leader yesterday.
Oh,
Yes,
how did that go?
and I think it went very well, and I had a lot of fun. But the first time I did that, the very first time, I had a lot of issues, and then when some of these same issues came up yesterday, such as what do I do if I need to restart the router, and we should have started 2 minutes ago, and people are paying, so they don't want 2 minutes.
No, router problems.
Yeah, and then how to deal with this in a without panicking, and to be able to be the leader, even though I am I'm unable to magically make the technology do what I want, uh,
Yeah.
you know. And then everything was sorted out, but I was sort of sitting there, um, observing how I reacted, and I was thinking, this is great that I'm not more nervous than this, or more agitated, or you know. So that was sort of putting myself out there, utsätta mig, exposing
Mhm.
myself to something that was not very nice, and then coming out uh, taller and stronger and more proud. But another thing I was thinking about was one of these lovely exercises that you do uh, in coaching. So often in coaching, to find out what your values are and what you should work with, etc., you would think of, say, the 3 situations where you feel the happiest, and then describe them in the most detail that you can think of, like how it smells, what people are saying, how it feels, what you're wearing, what the weather is like, and everything, so that you can pin down what that is, and then to from their work, find a way to something that could be an income, like a type of
Yeah.
job. But another way of putting it is to imagine what would be the worst working conditions for you. And imagine that you had to work there for 6 months,
Yes.
and or at least, or you had to work there until you liked it.
Mhm.
So what would you do to change this? So when I'm imagining this situation, I'm imagining working like in a place that's, say, underground, where you can't see outside, no windows,
Hmm.
and there's something slightly dangerous about it. Like it can sort of fall apart like a cave, or it's
Yeah, like a coal mine.
yeah, like, or there are some fumes that are not good for you, and it's with people that I don't like. And what would I do? What would I do in this situation? I'm not allowed to leave until I'm okay in
I
that.
know what you would do.
What would I do? Yeah, tell me. Yeah.
Knowing you as I do, and knowing your personality type, and also knowing what your blissful situations would be, I know, because you cannot run away, and you cannot change the situation, you would resort to your brain and
Mm,
look at models and theories, and you would create an entire inner world of what would be happening there, and you would be mapping it in your brain, I guess.
yeah.
And because I know you have a creative tendency about you, you would also probably make wall because hey, you're good at sewing clothes and everything. So I think you would do something with wall painting. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
That's
Yeah.
probably exactly what I
But
would do.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then I would probably, in order to integrate everything, not just like the inside world inside my head, I would probably try to integrate the sensory part as well, with the like
Yes.
painting, like you said, and also moving. And I would have a routine for singing or moving in some way. So yeah, Yeah.
And that would add to your personal growth.
Absolutely. And just during this thought experiment adds to personal growth, to see like what part, if you know which parts you have to integrate. So for someone who is sort of whose natural tendency is the opposite of mine, who starts in a sensing part, for them personal development would mean something like impro theater, or a discussion club, or brainstorming sessions, or something like that. Like have a topic that you need to sort of just talk about in any way. Because, so you need to, exactly. It's really, the value of doing something different is different for everyone.
It's really funny, and with the writing now, because my project that you started out with me, I mean, to give me some guidelines, that will be finished the end of the month.
Yeah.
I have one lined up for March, and it's funny because now I see, not funny obviously, but I like to say the word funny, but the deadlines help me finish things and involving people, which is something that I used to not do, because I knew for myself, well, because I can think of it, I can make it happen, right? Well, that's not the case. It's not because I can think of it or am creative enough for it, I can make it happen. No, I do know I need to involve people, either be it for a little bit, or a little part of the project. But if I don't, I set myself up for that failure. And then my biggest friend is procrastination, and procrastination leads me nowhere fast. So I learned from this, and it helps me in many areas to do this thing different from now on. And so that's where it got me.
Yeah, I think maybe that's a good ending, to just say that
the importance.
Yeah, that the path of doing something different looks different for everyone, and also this thing that for that you should involve other people in some way, and you need to figure out when to involve other people. Myers-Briggs has a clue to this, of course, but you can use another system if it works for you. But it's don't think. I think I read somewhere that the ancient Greek meaning of the word idiot was someone who believed they could do it all by themselves.
Oh wow, oh, that's interesting. Well, then I've been one for a long time. Seriously. And what did we learn from it? Yeah. Your own brain is not enough in your own functioning, and it is important. I do want to add to what you just said, and then to finish it off. I do find that you need to check your motives when you're involving people, because if you involve people to take over your work, that's manipulative, and then you're not following the process accordingly. But know where you end and where you need input from others, and know that, and try to learn that about yourself, and then it's helpful, and then it's adding to your process, and then it adds to your personal growth. Yes.
And if you involve people in your process, like you invite someone to read a draft, and it feels really bad afterwards, then you should not do that again. You should think of another way to involve someone.
Yes.
Or someone else.
What was your motive doing that?
And who did you ask?
And who did you ask? So there's probably political motive then, maybe. So, and that's not about personal growth. But we can talk more in the next episode.
Absolutely. Thank you for today.
That's it for now. Thank you for your presence.